we are in a new file, and for this exercise we are going to create, seam, and unwrap a column. So we go here to the UV editing layout. We hit over this window the number 1 in the numeric keyboard, and now we add a cube, hit tab for edit mode, and this is something that I do all the time. I select this face, front view, grab Z, there it goes. This is just a personal preference. I'd like to have this exactly on the 0. And now we leave this one here, but we are going to scale except in the Z axis. So Shift Z, and we create this kind of shape for the column. I don't like how high it is, it's too high, so G, Z, and we move it down. Now what we are going to do is to extrude, make this shape. We are going again to extrude, make this shape, scale Shift Z, scale button Z, do this for instance. Now E for extrude, we go all the way up, and now we extrude again, E, and move, scale but in Z with this, extrude again, and again we extrude and scale but in Z. So here we have our kind of column. Let's deselect everything. And the question is, how do I know where to cut? Well, when we have an object like this, we can start cutting these 4 edges because they are at the top and are not, let's say they don't belong with the shape here. And same with the bottom part. We select everything, we hit Ctrl E, mark seam. As you can see, they are showing up here because I left the generated UVs. That's not important because we are going to unwrap it ourselves, and that's going to get overridden. And now that we have selected the top and the bottom, that we know they are going to be separated from this because we have covered the 4 edges, and same here, we have covered the 4 edges. So now the question is, well, how do we unwrap the sides? Well, we have to see this. Well, we can see this. No, we can see this like a table leg, a simple table leg. So we hit Alt click. Well, in my system that doesn't work. I have to click Shift Alt click, and that selects all these edges. So now Ctrl E, mark seam, and And if we select everything, hit U for unwrap, and we unwrap, well, this doesn't look like expected. So let's go and open a shader editor. Let's hit the N key to hide this. Let's create a material for this object. And you may wonder, hey Orin, but in previous classes you assigned one material that was already there. Yes, but now if you see, that material is no longer here. Why? Because I save my preferences without a cube. So the material was unassigned. And because I didn't create a fake user for it, what happened is that when I save my starting file and reopen it, the unassigned material disappeared. So now we have to create a material every time that we need to apply one. So here you put shading this one, the material preview. We go to this thing that, as I said other times, we will worry about it in the main course. Shift A, texture, image, texture, output color, input base color. Since there's no image, this shows black. And now, since I have always the color grid and the UV grid created, because in my starting file I had this with the fake users, so I have them always available. I select the color grid, and now what we can join and make disappear the shader editor. And now we see that this is, well, the top and the bottom obviously are correctly unwrapped, but this does not look very well. So what happens here? What happens is that this face is perfectly rectangular. Same with this, same with this, and same with this. But these aren't. And these are also bigger in one dimension, in one and in two dimensions. So when we try to unfold this, we can't have these faces perfectly rectangular. So we get a shape like this. What is this telling us? It's telling us that we have to think of ways to reduce the distortion. And if you remember, one way to reduce the distortion is by creating more seams. So we can, for instance, select this, Alt click, and if you are on Linux and KDE system, you may need to also hit the Shift key. And now Control E, mark seam, and we have this new seam marked. So what happens now if we select everything and unwrap? It happens that now this face, these faces are correctly unwrapped, everything looks proportioned, the scale is correct, and we can see the island in here, but the others don't look well. So we can, for instance, repeat the procedure. I select this, Control E, mark scene, select everything, and unwrap. And now this looks much better, way better. So we have the islands here, and let's create a black texture for a moment, because this texture is good to see how the unwrap works on our shape, but it doesn't help visualize well the unwrap that we have made. So let's go here, new image, we call it black, and we hit OK. And now, well, this is seen much better. So now we see how this has been unwrapped. Every side following the shape of this. And this is a way of unwrapping. Well, if you don't like to see the sides this way, we can go and select island. Remember, when we are in sync selection off, we can select islands, and we have to select disable in the sticky selection mode. So now we select everything, rotate 90 degrees, and well, we have them upside down. The texture is upside down, like this. Now these parts are a bit outside of the UV area, so we grab and we move these because they have been put too close to the other ones. Remember that we need some margin so the texture doesn't bleed. Indeed, these parts are too close, so we select everything, scale just a little bit, and now select the island, GX, 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 and GX. We zoom, and now we see that there's some space. So this is one way to unwrap this, and it's a nice way to have in this unwrap, but it may happen that you need a texture that goes seamlessly across these faces, and maybe not so much on the bottom and the top, but at least the sides. What could we do for that? Well, let's deselect everything. We are going to deselect, we are going to select this. What I wanted to say is that we are going to clear the seams. And now let's think about this. If we want to have these four sides together in one piece, what do we have to do? Well, what we have to do is first separate them from the top and from the bottom. Now, if we mark a seam, we select everything and we unwrap. Well, this is a mess, but the thing is that this is the top, it's separated, this is the bottom, separated, and these are the sides, which are now separated from the bottom and from the top. So we have done our first step. Now, how we do continue, well, now that we have these four sides separated from the top and from the bottom, let's think about this. What do we need to do for these four sides to unfold? What we need to do is to place one seam, just one seam, this one, Control E, mark seam, and if now we select everything and unwrap, we have solved this. Now that this is fixed, and now we have to look at the top and the bottom. There is some distortion. There's some distortion here, and there's as well in here. What can we do? We can separate all these sides, for instance, and in order to select all these edges, I could go and select this, then this, then this, then this one, then this one, then this one, repeat. But I am going to do something quicker. I am going to select everything, and then what I'm going to do is to deselect this, 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 and this. As you can see, this is quicker. So now we go again, Control E, mark seam, and we select everything, unwrap, and now the distortion on the top and the bottom has been fixed. So this is another way to unwrap it, and we are going to arrange this a bit logically. So we scale down, oops, not one island, all the islands have to be selected. So scale down a little bit, and now we select this. Let's see how it rotates. No, it's this side. Okay, now we have this, and we can move it. We can move it here in the center, or we can move it here to then move the bottom and the top to the side, but for now I'm moving it away because there's no space. And now we go to sync selection on to recognize the parts. So if I select this face, I have this here, Control L, and I rotate the piece 90 degrees, and I move it here. Then this one, Control L, rotate 90 degrees, and move it here. Then the next one, Control L, I'm going to rotate 90 degrees this time by doing R, 90, enter. We move it here, and then this one, Control L. I prefer rotating this way because to me it's faster than typing the numbers. I have to move the hand from the mouse to the keyboard, and that always takes some time. And now let's go to the top faces. Control L, rotate, and grab. Next one, Control L, rotate, and move. what a day I have with my voice. I'm really sorry. Control L, rotate, move it here, and Control L, rotate, and move it here. Now this is the bottom part. I move it here. This is the top part. I move it here. And what happens is that we don't have enough space to make this logically. So let's go into sync selection off, because selecting islands is simple. Let's select everything, and now I am going to move this a bit over here, then this now here, down over here, now this all this way, this one all this way. Now we have those placed all this way, and now let's see if we can fit these parts. We grab and move, grab and move, and grab and move. Okay, we have luck. So this is another way to unwrap a column, exploring why are we doing what we are doing. And now we're going to do one more thing, taking advantage of sync selection on, taking advantage of this unwrap. We are going to hit Ctrl R, and now we are going to insert edge loops. For instance, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 is okay. We left click and hit ESC so they don't move from this position. Now we scale, but instead, and we see that the column is getting a bit like rounder. I deselect this edge loop and this edge loop, and again scale but set, and I move this. And if it's something that it's not too big, we can take advantage of the unwrap that we have, and as you see, we haven't needed to unwrap this again. So this is something to consider. If you are building up a piece, then unwrap it, and then think, oh, but I would like to add this, maybe an edge loop is the solution that you need. And we're going to leave it here with a column.